Ever since I can remember, my brother has always been interested in shoes. From customizing countless pairs on the computer to collecting Simon's favorites, he has developed an obsession. And one company in particular has truly intrigued him, Nike. Here to talk to you more about Nike, their countless successes, and what separates them from the rest of the athletic footwear market is my brother, Peter.
Most people think of shoes as simply that, just a pair of shoes, something that they wear every day to get them wherever they need to go. But others, including myself, think of them in a completely different way. Shoes, particularly athletic shoes, display numerous different technologies, take on many different styles, and attract an unbelievable following. And one company stands as the leader of innovation in the athletic footwear industry, Nike. With $25.3 billion in revenue in 2013, Nike dominates the athletic footwear industry. Nike is one of the most recognized brands in the world today and is a symbol for unparalleled athletic performance. By constantly innovating, Nike is able to produce the most technologically advanced shoes that supply an incredibly high demand. But before there was the swoosh, before there was Nike, there were two visionary men who pioneered a revolution in athletic footwear. Bill Bowerman was a very admired track and field coach at the University of Oregon and was always looking for new ways to give his runners an advantage. He experimented with different track surfaces and rehydration techniques, but focused primarily on innovating and improving running shoes. Bowerman even made shoes himself for his athletes at the University of Oregon. Phil Knight was a talented track runner from Portland, Oregon. In 1955, he was enrolled at the University of Oregon and competed for the track and field team under Coach Bowerman. After Knight graduated from Oregon, he went on to Stanford University. There, he wrote a paper proposing the idea of high-quality running shoes that could be manufactured in Japan and be able to compete with the more popular brands like Adidas. Knight then contacted the Onitsuka Tiger Company of Kobe, Japan, now known as ASICS, and convinced them to make him a distributor of their shoes in the United States. When the first order of sample shoes arrived, Knight immediately sent some to Bowerman, and Bowerman offered to become Knight's business partner. The newly acquainted business partners formed Blue Ribbon Sports in 1964 based on a mutual trust. Each pledged $500 and placed their initial order of 300 pairs of Tiger shoes. Not long after the pair began selling the Tiger shoes, Bowerman began modifying them because he felt they were poorly designed. He wanted to make the shoes lighter and more flexible. Bowerman experimented with different materials that will wear for longer and absorb the damaging impacts of sporting activity on the body. He then gave his test creations to his University of Oregon track runners, and what would become the innovative leader in athletic footwear was established. Jeff Johnson, Blue Ribbon Sports' first employee, was invaluable to the company. He did many things which included making brochures and other marketing materials, establishing a mail order system, and opening the first retail store, which was located in Santa Monica, California. But in 1971, one dream of Johnson's led to the birth of a global business monster. A dream about the Greek goddess of victory led to the adoption of the Nike name. When Johnson presented the name change to Bowerman and Knight, the partners decided to graduate from shoe distributors to shoe designers and creators of their own company. The search for a logo to put on the new Nike shoes began. Carolyn Davidson, a graphic design student at Portland State University, was asked by Knight to design what would become one of the most recognizable logos in the world, the swoosh. When Knight first saw the logo, he said, quote, "Well, I don't love it, but maybe it will grow on me," end quote. Nike's first true sign of innovation was seen in 1972. Bill Bowerman created a new outsole that had more superior traction than other shoes at the time. He used his wife's waffle iron to mold the outsoles of his shoes, and as a result, waffle-type protrusions were created on the outsoles, as you can see in the picture. Waffle soles were applied to many of Nike's early running shoes, like the Nike Waffle Runner and the Nike Oregon Waffle. Lighter and giving better traction, waffle soles propelled Nike past German-based Adidas as the dominant manufacturer of running shoes. Nike began a continuous pattern of innovation with the introduction of Nike Air technology. Nike Air was created by an aerospace engineer by the name of Frank Rudy. The air units work by trapping air molecules inside a durable urethane shell. With each foot strike, the air unit compresses to reduce the force of impact, then immediately recovers its shape to be ready for the next landing. This technology was first applied to the Nike Air Tailwind shoe in 1979, and was embedded inside the midsole of the shoe. Nike Air catapulted the running industry forward. However, the real impact would come 8 years later when Nike Air Max was introduced. The idea of Air Max technology came from legendary Nike shoe designer Tinker Hatfield. Hatfield's motivation for the creation of Air Max came from the Georges Pompidou Center in Paris, France. This building has exposed architecture, including visible heating and air conditioning, and people are at some points visible from outside the building. The conspicuous features of the Georges Pompidou Center truly intrigued Hatfield and ultimately led him to design a shoe that featured a visible air unit in the heel that resembled the many visible parts of the building. Hatfield said, quote, "If we actually cut away some of the midsole and expose the airbag so you could see it, then people will understand the technology. Notice how the building stands out from its surroundings. This is exactly what Hatfield wanted his shoe to do, stand out from all the others. And here's what Hatfield created. A bold, new, advanced, innovative running shoe featuring visible air." With the shoe created, Nike initiated a marketing campaign to advertise it. A commercial was developed featuring Michael Jordan, John McEnroe, and the hit song Revolution by the Beatles. The song is a symbol for change, and Nike felt that its Air Max would change the world of athletic shoes because consumers could actually see through the shoe by way of the exposed air unit. And here's the commercial.
But when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? Alright. Alright. Alright.
Air Max continued to be featured in many of Nike's shoes. Nike's next popular release featuring the visible air was seen in 1990 with the introduction of the Air Max 3. Now called the Air Max 90, this shoe featured a slightly larger air unit than its predecessor. This change encouraged many people to buy them, and the shoe is still being manufactured in numerous different color combinations to this day. The following year, Nike produced the Air Max 180, featuring an air unit that was visible 180 degrees around the bottom, or outsole of the shoe. This was the most air that people thought Nike was capable of integrating into its shoes. This was, however, not true. In 1993, the Air Max 270, now called the Air Max 93, featured an air unit visible from 270 degrees around the heel of the shoe. The increasing amount of air continued further with the release of the Air Max 95. This was the first shoe with visible air in the heel as well as in the forefoot. The next advancement in Nike Air Max came with the unveiling of the Air Max 97. This shoe was the first to display visible air for the entire midsole of the shoe. Designed with inspiration from the Japanese bullet trains, these shoes were the most futuristic at the time, and again, no one thought Nike could go any further with the amount of air in its shoes. Since 1987, Nike has proved to its consumers that they will always be surprised by their upcoming shoe releases. Each time the new Air Max model came out, no one thought Nike could possibly go any further with its incorporation of air or do any better with the design, but Nike proved them wrong by simply releasing their next shoe. In fact, Nike's domestic footwear net income increased with the release of each new Air Max model. In 1987, Nike's domestic footwear net income was $510,000, which increased to almost $4 million 10 years later. One shoe, created again by Tinker Hatfield, established an entirely new category of athletic footwear, the cross trainer. Hatfield would repeatedly go to the gym with multiple pairs of shoes. He had one pair for running, one pair for basketball, and one pair for lifting weights. It became clear to him that instead of carrying a bag of shoes to the gym every day, that he could design and create a shoe that could be used for multiple activities, and the Nike Air Trainer 1 was born. The Air Trainer 1 and the rest of Nike's cross-training line was endorsed by former Heisman Trophy winner and two-sport professional athlete Bo Jackson. The Air Trainer 1 was the perfect shoe to be endorsed by Jackson because he could wear it while training for both professional football and professional baseball. Today, every athletic footwear company has a line of cross-training shoes, and it's all thanks to Nike. Since the start of the company, Nike has always been looking for the perfect athletes to promote its brand, and seemed to have repeatedly picked the top athletes in their respective sports. Some notables include the 1970s Olympic track runner Steve Prefontaine, the aforementioned two-sport professional athlete Bo Jackson, winner of 7 Grand Slam singles titles John McEnroe, the Las Vegas Kid Andre Agassi, NFL Hall of Fame cornerback Deion Sanders, one of the most successful golfers of all time, Tiger Woods, women's tennis phenom Maria Sharapova, winner of 6 medals at the X Games, Paul Rodriguez, and 4-time NBA MVP LeBron James. However, the most notable and successful endorsement was Nike's sponsorship of Michael Jordan. In 1985, Nike offered Jordan $500,000 per year to wear its shoes. Jordan worked with Nike's best designers to create one of the most popular and successful lines of shoes. The first Air Jordan shoe, the Air Jordan 1, was a fairly basic high-top shoe designed by Peter Moore, featuring the colors of Jordan's team, the Chicago Bulls. Because the shoe lacked a white outsole, the NBA banned it. Jordan was fined $5,000 for every game he wore them in. Jordan, however, continued wearing the shoes because Nike paid his fines. This created excitement around the Air Jordan shoe, gave Nike tremendous publicity, and made being rebellious and different a good thing in the public's eye. This created the sort of bad boy image of Nike, which influenced the creation of the previously shown Revolution commercial 2 years later. Nike has always been about setting themselves apart from the rest of the market. Air Jordans, now a subsidiary of Nike, are some of the most coveted shoes ever. In fact, last year, Air Jordans accounted for 1 in every $3 spent on sneakers on eBay, which adds up to over $62 million according to the Courts News website. The Air Jordan 11 Concord, which originally released in 1996, was set to re-release in 2011. Thousands of people camped outside malls and sneaker shops across the United States in hopes of being able to own a pair of these shoes. When store doors opened, people trampled over others to be one of the lucky few to get their hands on the highly anticipated shoes.
People who waited in line all night long to get the new Air Jordan basketball shoes flooded into Lafayette Square Mall just after 7 this morning. They literally broke a door off the hinges. Several people were trampled while others crawled over them to get inside.
There was 2 people that was on the ground. I jumped over them and kept running.
You know, it's one of the doors. That's what you do. This is one of the most known shoes.
11 Concord exclusive.
Perhaps the most tragic case involving a pair of Air Jordan shoes was when a 16-year-old boy was shot and killed over his pair. Juan Reina was gunned down inside a neighbor's home. According to his father, violence erupted during an argument over the expensive sneakers Reina had recently purchased. This speaks volumes of how shoes, particularly Air Jordans, are seen as a status symbol rather than just something you wear every day. People will do inconceivable things to say they have a pair of Air Jordan sneakers. They will even pay unthinkable amounts of money. A pair of Air Jordan 12s that Jordan wore in the notorious flu game, Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals where Jordan played with flu symptoms, went up for public auction. They sold on December 12, 2013 for $104,765. Nike manufactures their most coveted and technologically advanced shoes in limited numbers to increase the demand that builds their success, and their exponential growth results in other brands imitating their product designs. Nike Flyknit technology, according to Nike's website, features an innovative upper constructed entirely of tightly woven polyester yarn that varies in density, more open in targeted areas that need greater flexibility or ventilation, and tighter in areas that demand support. Ultralight Nike Flyknit thread creates a single layer upper that eliminates overlays, reduces weight, and minimizes waste. This technology, released in early 2013, was a great success. However, in hopes of competing with the dominant Nike, Adidas released a shoe later that year that imitated the design and technology of the Nike Flyknit. Called a very similar name to the Flyknit, the Adidas Adizero Prime Knit is even described similarly to the Nike shoe. Knitting fused yarn allows us to fine-tune the exact amount of flexibility and support needed in every part of the shoe. This means lightweight comfort that wraps seamlessly around your foot, while with fewer materials produce less waste. Both shoes technologies are described in very similar ways and have almost identical silhouettes. Adidas is not the only one of Nike's competitors to imitate one of their products. Shoes featuring the innovative Nike Free technology are extremely popular with runners. Nike Free shoes are specifically designed to let your feet move more naturally and freely than traditional athletic shoes. Reebok later developed a technology similar to the Nike Free, called Reebok RealFlex. RealFlex is utilized in a number of Reebok shoes and looks astonishingly similar to the Nike Free shoes. As you can see, the soles of both shoes have grooves in relatively the same places to allow for a more natural run. These two examples of other brands imitating Nike's design and using Nike's technology for inspiration show that Nike is the dominant company in athletic footwear and the leader of innovation in the industry. Nike is a very distinct company. Not only was it started in the United States, it is now one of the most recognizable brands in the world, thanks to its unique story and continuously successful innovation. The company began distributing shoes for another manufacturer and eventually emerged into its own company. As of 2007, Nike controlled 31% of the global athletic footwear market. The closest competitor was Adidas at just 18%. As part of a PowerPoint created by 4 students at Cornell University, a survey was taken that showed Nike was undoubtedly the most preferred brand. The survey asked which brand each individual preferred when buying a new pair of athletic shoes. The results showed that 71% of people would choose Nike, Adidas coming in second with 10%, followed by Jordan Brand, a subsidiary of Nike. This information is ineluctable and proves that Nike controls the athletic footwear market. Thank you.